Hello friends. Now today we are going to discuss a very important topic related to safety, health and environment, mainly related to the safety and health. So the topic is the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020. So this is very important from the industrial person's point of view, from the dock worker point of view, from the film industry point of view, from the other workers or the employees point of view where it is applicable. So this is the official gazette published on the 29th September 2020 by the Ministry of Law and Justice, that is Legislative Department. And with reference to this 29th September official gazette, we are going to discuss various points which are referred in this particular gadget. So what exactly the points are? So we will discuss one by one. So before starting the actual points, the background of this official gazette is this is regarding the second National Commission on Labor under the chairmanship of Ravindra Verma, recommended for the labor laws reforms in 2002. So the background and the conversation starting from 2002 by Ravindra Verma. Then to consolidate and amend the laws regulating the occupational safety, health and working conditions of the persons employed, this code is enacted. So under this code, with reference to this occupational safety, health and working conditions code 2020, the following acts are going to repealed. So it is with reference to the section 143 of this code 2020. So the acts like the Factory Act 1948, which is the Bible for the industrial persons, but it is going to repealed. The Plantation Labor Act 1951, the Mines Act 1952, the Working Journalist and Other Newspaper and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1955, the Working Journalist Act 1958, the Motor Transport Workers Act 1961, the Beedi and Cigar Workers Act 1966, the Contract Labor Act 1970, the Sales Promotion Employees Act 1976, the Interstate Migrant Workmen Act 1979, the Cine Workers and Cinema Theatre Workers Act 1981, the Dock Workers Act 1986, and the Building and Other Construction Workers Act 1996. So you can understand the importance of this Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code 2020, because from all these act, the main provisions, the main sections, the main points are extracted from all these act and it is incorporated in this 2020 code. So some of the points from Factory Act, some of the points from Journalist Act, some of the points from the BDCGAR, some of the points from contract labor, some of the points related to the interstate migrant workmen, and some of the points related to the senior workers, dock workers, and building workers. So from all these acts, they have prepared this code 2020. So this OSH code 2020 contains 14 chapters, 143 sections, and chapter 11 contains 8 parts, and this OHS code contains 3 schedules. So what are the key changes in this OHS code 2020? So we are going to discuss only the main changes, the important points from the occupational safety, health and working conditions point of view. So there are many changes occurred in this code, but we are going to focus only the important points which are related to the occupational safety and health and working conditions. So section 2(1)(d). So that gives the idea related to the appropriate government for the metro shall be central government, and the holding of central government reduces to less than 50% equity of central government in PSU, then appropriate government shall be central government. Means from this act, that is from the section 1D, which is in relation to the establishment which is carried by or under the authority of central government, or concerning any such control industry as may be specified under this central government authority. But it is related to the railways establishment, including the metro railways, mines, oil field, major ports, air transport, or telecommunication services, banking company, or any insurance company, whatever it is involved, and gives the details as a establishment. So under this point, section 2(1)(d), the main authority is now central government. And if any specific case is there, then central government is going to decide which is the main authority for that particular case. Then section 2(1)(e) is related to the audio visual production. So audio visual production includes the animation, cartoon depictions, audio visual advertisement, digital production, or any of the activities in respect of making their of feature films, non-feature films, televisions, web-based serials, talk shows, reality shows, and sports shows. So all these are included under the audio visual production title. And it is clearly mentioned because the audio visual worker is the next section, that is section 2(1)(f). So all these audio visual workers are related to the audio visual production. So who are the audio visual worker? The actor, musician, singer, anchor, newsreader, dancer, dubbing artist, or stunt persons. So all these things are not included in the Factory Act, but it is maybe included in the Senior Workers Acts, etc. But now it is the combination. That is why we have to discuss many things which are important from this Occupational Safety Health Code. Then the next one is section 2H. So it is related to the building and other construction work. Now this point is related to the Building and Other Construction Work Act 1996, but from that act it is extracted and modified in this section, that is 2H. So it doesn't include construction of factories, mine, and own residential. The purpose of the group of individual in connection with the factories or the mines, and which doesn't cost exceeds 50 lakhs rupees. So what are the exceptions for this building and other construction work? So this is the specific exception, that this construction or building work doesn't include the construction of factories or mines or the residential work which is owned by the single person. So likewise, and the second one is, if it is not exceed 50 lakh rupees cost, then it is exceeded with reference to this section 2H. Now section 2M is related to the contract labor. So in the previous case, Contract Labor Act was different one. Now in this case, the contract labor is the definition of contract labor has been modified and includes these interstate migrant workers. Now in the contract labor, the interstate migrant workers are also included. The new definition of core activity provide that the activity for which establishment is set up, and other activities like housekeeping, security, canteen, etc. are not to be take as a core activity. So the core activity concept is also little bit modified. And now from this OSH code, we are going to skip the housekeeping, security, and canteen persons as a core activity persons, and these activities as a core activity. Then section 2 ZZL. So this is related to the definition of worker. Now with reference to this section, the definition of worker is modified, and the main change is wage ceiling of 18,000 per month is fixed. So that is the major change. Then the principal employer to provide the welfare facilities where the contract labor is deployed. So now if the worker is contract labor, or it may be interstate migrant worker. So if the it is come under the definition of worker, then it is the responsibility of the principal employer to provide the welfare facilities to all the contract labor. Then section 6F, that is the appointment letter. Now from the previous section, you can understand there were many definitions, but we are focusing only on the major one. So there may be the definition of banking company, building or other construction workers, building workers, cargo, chief inspector, competent person, etc. But many of these definitions are on the similar lines of the respective acts, and that is why I have skipped that points, and I'm going to jump to the section 6 now. So this section 6F is related to the appointment letter. So in some of the cases, the appointment letter was not mandatory, but now with reference to this code, the employer should issue letter of appointment to every employee on his appointment. So that is essential condition now. Now the section 13 is related to the duties of employees. So the duties of employees include to take the reasonable care of his health and safety and of other persons, then the comply with the safety and health requirements, then cooperate with the employer in meeting statutory obligations, report any unsafe or unhealthy situations, not to misuse or neglect safety appliances, not to willfully endanger himself. So these are the specific duties of employees. In the previous cases, we were focusing only on the duties of employers, but now this is the clear-cut guidelines with reference to this section 13, that is the duties of employees. Then section 16 is related to the National Occupational Safety Health Advisory Board. Now with reference to this act and under the chapter 4, occupational safety and health, so that was the title for this chapter 4, and under this chapter the central government shall be create this body that is called as national board. So this national board is nothing but the National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board. So for the relating to the different matters, this board is going to modified, and the relating matters are standards, rules, regulations to be declared or frame under this code, then implementation of this provision of this code, and the standards, rules, and relating, then the issues of policy, then programs relating to the occupational safety and health, then any other matter which is related to this code and related to the occupational safety and health and working conditions. So this national board consists of secretary, Ministry of Labor and Employment as a chairperson, then DG Fastly Mumbai as a member, ex officio, and likewise there are different members like DG Mine Safety, Dhanbad, then Chief Controller of Explosive Nagpur, then Chairman CPCB New Delhi, then Chief Labor Commissioner New Delhi, then Principal Secretariat dealing with the labor matters of 4 states, then DG Employee State Insurance Corporations, then DG Health Services, then 5 representatives from the employers, 5 representatives from the employees, and some representative of the professional bodies, then some eminent persons which can be invited for this membership from the occupational health safety perspective, and some special invitees from the state government, then joint secretary, Ministry of Labor and Employment. So this national board is consisted of all these expert members from the central government as well as from the state governments and maybe from the other bodies which are called as expert members from that area. So this is going to form with reference to this code, and they are going to guide to the state government also. So section 17 is related to the State Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board. So on the similar line as a national body, the state body is also going to form, and state government is going to absorb the different guidelines and guidance from the national boards. Then section 18 is related to the employees' right to obtain information. So every employee has a right to obtain the information from the employer relating to his health and safety. He is also entitled to represent to the inspector cum facilitator if he is not satisfied with the response of the employer. So every worker has right to get the information related to the health and safety from the employer. And if he is refused to give the information, then you can communicate to the inspector cum facilitator. Then section 32 is related to the annual leave with wages. So under this section, the details of annual leave are given. So every worker employed in establishment shall be entitled for a leave in a calendar year with wages who has worked 180 days. So that is approximate 6 months or more shall be entitled for 1 day leave for every 20 days of his work. So if you are having the experience more than 6 months as a worker in that organizations, then you are entitled with the 1 day leave for every 20 days of the worker. So that is related to the annual leave wages. The next one is under chapter 10, that is special provisions relating to the employment of women. So now in this regard, that Factory Act amendment was there, and there were some flexibility in the woman workers timing, and in the same fashion, in the similar line, this point is incorporated in this Occupational Safety Health Code 2020 as a section 43. So under this section 43, it is clearly mentioned that woman worker entitled for all types of work in all establishments, and woman worker can be employed from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. with her consent and subject to the conditions. So that is prescribed by the government relating to the safety holidays and working hours. Then section 44 is related to the employer to provide adequate safeguards for employment of women in such operation which is considered to be danger for the health and safety conditions. So if any dangerous process is there or any dangerous hazard is present in that area, then we have to check and we have to ask to that woman whether she is ready to go for this operation or not. Generally, we are not going to allot this type of work to the woman worker. So that is under section 44. Then under chapter 11, that is part 1, contract labor, because there are 8 parts. So the part 1 is related to the contract labor. Under this, section 45 is related to the applicability of this act. So this applies to every establishment in which 50 or more contract labor employed on any day preceding 12 months. So if that contract labor number is more than 50 or 50, then this section is applicable for that particular company. Then section 47 is related to the licensing of contract. So with reference to section 119 and subsection 1, the contracts can be given to that company who has applied for the license for that contract. So that is given under this section 47, and 47.2 is related to the work specific license. So there are certain provisions related to this. So no contractor to whom this part applies shall supply or engage contract labor in any establishment or undertake or execute the work through contract labor. So there is a specific provision also that this license can be given to a particular contract company or the particular firm for the specific condition also. But that is the authority of central government. So central government is going to check the work specific license, and that may issue to him electronically renewable within such particular condition or the period which is prescribed by the central government. So that is the specific case, and the authority is central government only. Then section 53 is related to the liability of principal employer for welfare facility. So welfare facility is specified under the section 23 and 24 shall be provided by the principal employer of the establishment to the contract labor who are employed in the such establishments. So that is the responsibility of the principal employer for providing the welfare facilities to all the contract labor. Then under part 2, that is mainly focused on the interstate migrant workers. So with reference to this part 2, section 59 is related to the establishment and interstate migrant workers number. So part 2 is applied to every establishment in which 10 or more interstate migrant workers are employed. So if the interstate migrant workers is 10 or 10 plus, then this part 2 is applied for all that workers. Then section 62A is related to the benefits of PDS, that is public distribution system. So this option to an interstate migrant workers for availing this PDS facility either in his native state or in the destination state. So these interstate migrant workers can have this PDS facility in their native state or in the destination state. Then 62B is related to the portability of benefits for these interstate migrant workers and which are working for the building and other construction work. So 62A is related to the PDS facility and 62B is related to the portability of the benefits for this worker for building and other construction workers. So these workers are related to the building and other construction work only. Then 63 is related to the toll-free helpline for these interstate migrant workers. So the appropriate government may provide the facility of toll-free helpline to the interstate migrant workers in such manner as may be prescribed by the government. Then 64 is related to the study of interstate migrant workers. So appropriate government may provide the study of these interstate migrant workers in such manner as may be prescribed by the government. So that appropriate government is going to take care about these toll-free helpline numbers as well as the study of these interstate migrant workers. Then part 3 is related to the audio visual workers. Under that, section 66 is related to the prohibition of employment of audio visual workers without agreement. So no person shall be employed as an audio visual worker in or in connection with the production of any audio visual programs unless an agreement in writing is entered into with such person by the producer of such audio visual program or with such person by the producer of such audio visual program with the contractor. So whether the agreement is with producer or with the contractor, but that should be given and it is related to that person only. So with such person by the contractor or the other person through whom such persons are employed. So there may be a subcontractor also, but agreement should be there, right? So such agreement is registered with the competent authority to be notified by the appropriate government by the producer of such audio visual programs. And every agreement has a specific prescribed form and where the details are given like name of the persons, what exactly he is going to do or she is going to do in that production facility, who is producer, what are the details of that producer, etc. So all these things are given under this section 66. Then 66A is related to that agreement, what we have discussed just now. Then 66B is related to the agreement which is registered with the competent authority. And then 74 under the part 5. Part 4 is related to the mines. And then next part, that is part 5, is related to the BD and cigar workers. So in that case, section 74 is related to the license to industrial premises and persons. So this 74 is related to the licensings to all these persons. So there are certain provisions, certain conditions, and if the person is going to satisfy all these conditions, and then this appropriate government is going to give that license related to this BD and cigar workers. So all the provisions have already given in detail in the BD cigar Workers Act, and the similar points are incorporated in this also. So that is the suitability of the place or premises which is proposed to be used for the manufacture of BD or cigar, then previous experience of the applicant or he has employed experienced person or has entered into agreement with the experienced person for the employment for the period of license, then the finance resources of the applicant including the financial capacity to meet the demands, then whether the application is made bona fide on behalf of the applicant himself or in benami of any other persons, and then welfare of labor in the locality, etc. So these are the different conditions which are mentioned, and if all these conditions are satisfied and verified by the appropriate government, then license can be given to that industry. Then part 6 is related to the building and other construction workers. So with reference to section 78, that is prohibition of employment of certain persons in certain building or other construction work. Now this is a specific case and specific provision. So no person with deafness, defect vision tendency to giddiness shall be allowed to work in the building and other construction work. So to avoid the accident in the construction area, in the construction work area, This provision is very important. Then part 8 is related to the plantations. The part 6 was related to the building and other construction worker. Then part 7 was related to the factories. And in the factories also, there is a little bit change in the definition of factory also. That is from 10 and 20 number of workers, that is the without aid and with power. Now it is changed to 20 and 40 workers, that is without aid and with aid of the powers. So that is the change in the factory definitions. And part 7 is related to the factories. Now the next is part 8, that is related to the plantation. So according to section 92, it is related to the facilities of the workers in the plantation. So necessary housing accommodation with drinking water, kitchen and toilet to every worker employed in the plantation. So that should be provided by the principal employer, and it is with reference to the section 23 and 24 also. So all these necessary facilities should be provided by that principal employer. In some of the cases with the specific conditions, creches facilities should be also provided. So creches facility in plantation in 50 or more workers are there, then we have to provide the crèche facility. So that is covered under section 92B. Then chapter 12 is related to the offenses and penalties. Now this is also important from the point of view in the amount change. So if you refer the section 94, general penalty for offenses is minimum 2 lakh rupees. So that is the major change, and up to 3 lakh rupees also. And there is another facilities also provided in this section 94. I have skipped that point. If the contravention is continue after the provision also, after the 2 lakhs or 3 lakh rupees penalty, then rupees 2000 per day can be a penalty for that firm or that company, and that may be continue for the contraventions. So that is the major change, that is 2000 rupees for each day till such contravention continues. So 2 lakh minimum rupees up to extended 3 lakh rupees, and after that also, if the contravention continues, then till that date 2000 rupees for each day. That is the major penalty change. Then section 95 is related to the punishment for causing obstructions to chief inspector cum facilitator or inspector cum facilitator. So there is a provision for the obstruction for all this work or the entry related to the chief inspector or inspector. So there is a provision of imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or fine shall not be less than 1 lakh. So minimum 1 lakh rupees fine, and that may be extended to 2 lakh rupees, or both provision may be applicable. So depending on the conditions. So 6-month imprisonment or minimum 1 lakh, and that may extend to 2 lakh. So that is the provision for the obstructions in the chief inspector or inspector work. Then section 96 is related to the penalties for the non-maintenance of registered. So if you haven't maintained the registers which is prescribed under this OSH code, then there may be a provisions of penalty not less than 50,000 rupees, and which can be extended up to 1 lakh rupees. So we have to keep the records ready, and we have to update all these records time to time. Then section 98 is related to the penalty for falsifications of records. So if your records found false, then what is the penalty for that purpose? So that can be punishable with imprisonment for a term extend to 3 months, or with fine which may be extended to 1 lakh rupees, or both. So these are the different penalty provisions and offenses related provisions or the sections. Then chapter 13 is related to the Social Security Fund. So with reference to section 114, the composition certain offenses. So this is the provision which is mentioned under this section 114. So there may be a specific provision, the composition of these certain offenses, and which may be related to the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 and the penalty under subsection 3 of section 12 or section 94 or section 96 or subsection 1 of section 97 or 99, 106, subsection 3, or any of offense under this subsection 2 of section 97, subsection 1 of 100, section 101, clause B of subsection 1 of section 103 or 105, and subsection 2 of section 113 may either before or after the holding the inquiry. The case may be of institution of prosecution may be compounded of by such officer, and the appropriate government may decide the decisions. So in case of penalty for a sum of 50% of the maximum penalty provided for such penalty, in case of offense for a sum of 70% of the maximum fine provided for such offenses. So all these things and conditions are depends on that particular sections, their penalty provisions, and the officer who is going to investigate all these things. And that is why this the amount of composition received under these sections and subsections of 115 for the unorganized workers. So this is related to the composition certain offenses. Then there is a section 115. So actually that is under Social Security Fund again, and that is amount received from the composition of offense as specified under subsection 4 of 114. So it is related to the 114, that is why it is mentioned under 115. Then 119 is related to the common license for contractor. But before that, the chapter 14 is nothing but the miscellaneous provision. So I have missed that part as a title. So chapter 14 is miscellaneous, and under that from section 116 up to section 143. So all these sections are included. So this is the miscellaneous part section, that is chapter, and 119 is related to the common license for contractor, factories, and to industrial premises. So any persons desirous of obtaining the common license in respect of factory, industrial premises, for BD and cigar work, for engaging workers, or any combination thereof, or single license for any one of them under this code, shall make an application electronically or otherwise to such authority as may be designed by notification by the appropriate government. So applicant, those who are interested, can go for the common license facility, and it is available electronic applications. So through the digital India way, we can apply for this common license facility electronically. That is the simple way for the applications. So with reference to this 119, we can apply for the common license. So these are the different key changes under the occupational safety, health and code provisions, that is working conditions 2020, and which contains near about 143 sections, 14 chapters, and different 3 schedules. So the schedule 1, 2, and 3 I haven't shown here, but I will give in brief what exactly the schedule 1, 2, and 3 is. So schedule 1 is related to the hazardous industries. So in the previous case, in the Factory Act, the hazardous processes were 29. Now, in this first schedule, with reference to section 2ZA, there is list of industries involving hazardous process like ferrous industries, non-ferrous industries, foundries, coal, etc. So these are already mentioned in the Factory Act. But again, there are some industries which are added. So like stone crushing industries, then radioactive substances or radium industries, then cigarette manufacturing industries, shipbreaking industries, hazardous waste or e-waste processing plants, semiconductor manufacturing industries, styrene manufacturing industries, nanoparticles utilizing industries, and the manufacturing, processing, preparation, and utilization of mercury or compounds, mercury, lead, tetraethyl, manganese, arsenic, chrome, aliphatic series, beryllium, phosgene, isocyanate, etc. So now in this case, the list of hazardous processes are 40 instead of 29 in the first schedule. Then second schedule is with reference to the section 18(2)(f). So in this schedule, the list of matters are given like the fencing of machinery, work or near machinery in motion, then employment of adolescents on dangerous machine, then self-acting machines, etc. So all these matters are given. So the list of matter in this second schedule is 73. So 73 matters are incorporated in the second schedule. And the third schedule is with reference to the section 12EL. So notifiable diseases. So that was again the part of Factory Act, but this list of notifiable diseases is also given in the third schedule. So all the notifiable diseases are similar like lead poisoning, lead tetraethylene, phosphorus, mercury, manganese, arsenic, then nitrous fumes, carbon, benzene, then chrome ulceration, anthrax, silicosis, X-ray radiations, then toxic anemia, then toxic jaundice, oil acne, biocinosis, asbestosis, occupational or contract dermatitis, then noise, beryllium poisoning, and carbon monoxide, etc. So all these 29 notifiable diseases are listed in the third schedules. So these are the three schedules, 143 sections, 14 chapters, and the key changes regarding this occupational safety, health, and working conditions code 2020. Thank you.